Good afternoon. I am Joe Marinucci, a member of the Global Cleveland Board, and I want to welcome you to the International Community Candidate Forum for City Council and the mayoral race this year. At Global Cleveland, we're excited to host this non-political, non-endorsement, community-centered conversation. We look forward to this discussion and the positive momentum for Cleveland's future that it will produce. If English is not your first language, please check the Zoom options bar for the interpretation function. If that option is available, we will have live interpretation available. If you click on that tab, you should see an option for languages. So thank you for doing that. Before I introduce our moderator and our candidate, I would like to thank our partners. Partners include Asia Inc., Asia Town Cleveland, Bandamo Community of Greater Cleveland, sorry about that, the British American Chamber of Commerce of Ohio, Building Hope in the City Club of Cleveland, the Cleveland Council on World Affairs, Council on International Programs USA, Cleveland Cultural Gardens, Collaborative Chambers Alliance, Connecting Cleveland, Downtown Cleveland Alliance, Global Shapers Cleveland, the NCAA of Cleveland, Ohio Progressive Asian Women's Leadership, Refugee Response, Smart Development Inc., Us Together, USCRI Cleveland, and the Young Latino Network. Thank you all for your support. Putting this on would not have been possible without you. Now, before I explain the guidelines for the forum, we have a short video from Mo Kantner from our national partner, NAE, the New American Economy.
Hello, and welcome to today's Candidate Forum with Global Cleveland. My name is Mo Kantner, and I'm the Director of State and Local Initiatives at New American Economy. At New American Economy, we're a bipartisan research and advocacy organization that focuses on making the economic case for better immigration policies at the federal, state, and local levels. Now, immigration may feel like an abstract issue debated at the national level through very technical, political, and bureaucratic constraints, and that's partially true, but immigrant integration happens at the local level. How communities attract and welcome newcomers helps lay the foundation for whether a person stays, works, starts a small business, or raises a family. In Cleveland alone, there are over 125,000 immigrants. They pay over $1.3 billion in taxes and help fill workforce needs in healthcare, manufacturing, and other critical industries. They're also over 60% more likely than the US born population to start a small business in Cleveland. They not only help fill workforce needs, they create jobs for other Americans. And that is something that can't be captured at the national level. Those impacts are happening on the ground every day in Cleveland's communities. Our local elected officials have a huge impact on people's day-to-day lives. And when policies are established that let everyone live up to their potential, everybody benefits. So thank you again for participating in this critical conversation, and remember to vote.
Thank you, Mo. Now we will move quickly to review the guidelines before we move into questions. Although I think for Ward 5, we only have one candidate with us, Mr. Starr, but let me just review them just nonetheless. The candidate will receive 2 minutes to respond to each question. Obviously, since we only have one candidate, I'm going to forego reading some of the other guidelines, because if we had multiple candidates, we would go through a sequencing. But I also want to remind everyone this is supposed to be a very civil discussion, so please take that into account as you ask Mr. Starr your questions. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Starr. Richard Starr is a candidate for City Council in Ward 5. Mr. Starr wants a Ward 5 that thrives for all: safety, economic development, accountability, and engaging the youth of Ward 5 are his priorities as he navigates through this campaign. In addition, I'd like to introduce our moderator for this session, Paul Burek, who is currently president of the Sokol Greater Cleveland and Czech Cultural Center located at 4939 Broadview Avenue. Paul is also involved with the Cleveland Cultural Gardens, where he serves on the board and is past president. Originally from Czech Republic, a retired architect, Mr. Burek has a long time commitment to the city of Cleveland. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Paul and to Richard for a dialogue about Ward 5.
Well, thank you, Mr. Marinucci. The guidelines have been indicated. So with that, I would like to move on to the discussion questions. with the candidate. Uh, these are pre-supplied questions, so let us begin. The first question, Mr. Starr, is what is your experience serving and interacting with the international community in your own community and in Northeastern Ohio at large? How has this shaped your understanding of your community and your role as a leader?
Thank you, Burke, for that question. That is an interesting question. The one experience that I can allude to is a few different ones. One is with my relationship and my position as the director, former director of King County Boys and Girls Club. I was able to work with CSU, not just CSU, but Case Western Reserve on a larger scale. And we were able to receive an intern. I had an intern work with me for about a year and a half from Case, in which I helped her get acclimated to the United States as well as Cleveland, but also helped her find employment with us at Boys and Girls Club for the limited time that she was here for the States. Also, Phi Chi from there, the fraternity there on campus at Case Western Reserve have a lot of foreign students and students from different countries who are part of that fraternity that have came in, and we've partnership on hosting different back to school events and initiatives to make sure we provide services for the kids in our the central community. So the role I've had is I had the chance of supervising some people, and also I've been able to work to be able to help them find employment in Cleveland while interning with me. Thank you.
Is it fair to assume that that intern was immigrant or from other than United States?
Yes, she actually came from don't make me say it wrong.
That's okay. Just wanted to make sure that that was your part of your answer.
Yep, that is. Yep, she came, reached out, and our partnership from there took off to the next level to now working with Case Reserve on a more broader level.
Great, great. The next question is as follows. Our population loss from 2010 to 2018 would have been even worse if not for the 37,000 immigrants who moved into Cuyahoga County during that time. These new residents, excuse me, have offset the population loss by 45%. How can we attract more immigrants to move here to continue this important trend?
So one of the things I would say as far as to try to create this trend or improve this trend, as far as having more residents and population move to the Cuyahoga County is a local official must find ways to curb the price or the cost for them to be able to stay here. One of the problems that I had with working with Shishi was in order for us to employ her for Boys and Girls Club, we also had to pay a different salary amount or cost amount in order for her to supply. I forgot what the word or the terminology was, but it was costing my organization more money as opposed to them just having someone that already is a current resident. So we need to probably figure out what type of loopholes we can do as far as employers to make sure that they can have some benefits with hiring people that are from different countries. So therefore they can want to attract more immigrants to want to stay here. So we got to be able to suffice that barrier that may cause them to, too much money to cost for them to be able to be here. I think that's one of the things we should be able to do. We also need to expand some of the operations or the businesses that we have in the United States, well, in our Cuyahoga County. So therefore we can have some jobs that attract those immigrants from different places and things like that.
Good, good. Obviously you're basing it on your personal experience. The next question is as follows. There are over 1,000 immigrant entrepreneurs in Cleveland, and there are 38% more likely to be entrepreneurs than the US-born residents. What portion of the Economic Development Office in the city of Cleveland would be devoted to supporting immigrant entrepreneurs under your leadership?
Okay, that's a good. what gets me when you say like a portion of economic development, I can't put a percentage or to tell you a certain number on what would be devoted, but what I believe is that I can definitely tell you and assure you that I support immigrant entrepreneurs, and we need to make sure they are treated just as fair as any other Clevelander or born and raised or who have citizenship here. One of the things that we have to do in our community is stop the segregation and stop the undivide, and we need to make sure that we all come together and support that. So I am open to supporting and also helping create opportunities for economic development for entrepreneurs that are immigrants. How do we increase that? It would definitely have to be something that comes from an approach that having that conversation with Global Cleveland, as well as other immigrants, to figure out what a solution to be, or what do they need as far as the economic development and how that look. It could be a larger proportion. It may be a certain proportion number that we think right now, but we may look up and say it may need to be more. So I'm definitely open to that conversation and also triggering that to make sure that happens.
All right, that was a challenging question. The next one, I'm sorry, there was a incoming voice. The next question number 4, would you and how would you support adding new members and staff to the Community Relations Board that represents the changing immigrant population in Cleveland, such as the African Immigrant Community Liaison and Arab Immigrant Community Liaison?
Ooh, that
specific question.
You just said the other one was a challenging question. I said, okay, but this one seems more so, I would support by making sure that, you know, we have a pipeline, whatever that looks like. The pipeline could be definitely an assistance to make sure that we have such immigrants from community liaison and Arab community as a part of it. We can't be making decisions that's going to impact others without having that group represented properly. So therefore, I would definitely support that, adding new members, because we can't just say myself or any other one has the ideal or know all of the right stops for that. We would definitely need support.
Good, nice, good answer. Question number 5. On average, 500 to 700 refugees are resettled to Cleveland every year, excuse me, from countries such as Nepal, Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia. The Biden-Harris administration announced they will increase refugee admission to 125,000 a year nationally, up from 15,000 this year. This means Cleveland's 3 refugee resettlement agencies will receive 3 to 4 times as many families as they did this past year. How do you plan to open Cleveland for these new residents and provide refugees with opportunity to contribute to Cleveland?
We have to, to the way that you can provide support and open these doors and plan for Cleveland for these new residents, we have to capitalize in Ward 5 off our opportunity corridor. That can be a way that we can create that neighborhood or that community that welcomes those immigrants from other countries to be able to support everything that they're trying to do as far as becoming a citizen in the United States or in Cleveland. I think we would definitely have to really, really sit down and plan what does that look like, because the support is not there. Like you said, on average, 500 to 700 refugees are settled to Cleveland. When you look at Cleveland, we have over, way more residents than that, and that's not even a large population. So we need to increase that and find ways to better support those new residents. So I'm thinking, what does that long-term look like? What type of economic development or what type of job creations do we have? What type of assistance we do have for as far as housing, as well as making sure that their kids and children have the opportunity to go to school without having to be discriminated against or anything like that.
So we're gonna go to our next question. It has to do with education. Just to plug the Cleveland Cultural Gardens, often we get students from CASE or so visiting and helping with the Cleveland Cultural Gardens. So the question number 6, annually, hundreds of international students graduate from Case Western Reserve, Tri-C, and CSU with a demand and skills who are not being retained in the area to contribute to population and economic growth. Can you share what policies you will support to address this?
And demand skills. Can you I'm reading it back to make sure I understand it. The area.
I think, how would you keep all those immigrant or foreign students from these education facilities in Cleveland so they don't leave and go elsewhere?
We have to in order to keep them there, we must utilize their skills. We can't have them just sitting there or living in Ward 5 and they're not able to play a pivotal role in the growth in the community. Then you also got to think about what type of jobs are there for them to want to retain. Most of the time people relocate because of the economic reason, meaning they're looking for ways to increase their salary or they're looking for ways to grow within the organization. We have to create good paying jobs that we both can utilize, that it can be a point that we can say, hey, they're getting the support that they need as far as residents, and then the city and the ward is getting the same support. So we got to create that medium and what that look like for each party.
Kind of in a similar theme, I don't know if you're familiar with the sister cities concept, but Cleveland has sister cities all around the world, such as in Abadan, Nigeria, Lima, Peru, Gdansk, Poland, and Bangalore, India. What is your game plan for making Cleveland a more open and international facing city to strengthen and grow these relationships?
So the way we grow these relationships is utilize the strength that we have in Cleveland. One of the good strengths that we have is school. You look in Cleveland, we have a few number of school colleges that most immigrants come to the United States for. How do we strengthen that to create a pipeline for a partnership that from their school that they choose, they have access to good paying jobs, opportunities, and housing that can help support them. So creating the welcoming to a sense that make sure that those people are not, or those residents are no longer thinking, hey, I'm just being isolated or I'm just here by myself, but no, they have the support for them to be able to thrive in the neighborhood. And it's not just thriving for the residents that don't look like them, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's a little bit of the sister cities subject, but that's fine. Going to question number 8. Immigrants are a key part of building a successful and strong regional economy. With spending power of over $3 billion, how will you support integrating this powerful demographic into a regional growth plan?
Ooh, we have to sit down and really tackle that. When you say $3 billion, and you're talking about how do we really think about what we can do in our regional growth plan, it will really have to be more than just an answer that's given now. It would definitely have to be dialogue, conversations, bringing organizations, stakeholders involved to be able to figure out how do we maximize the full potential of that spending. So I don't want to say anything, but I would definitely say our key part of building a successful and strong regional economy. I definitely would say we would definitely have to create opportunities for them entrepreneurs to have better support so they can help bring good paying jobs to the ward.
Good. We have just a few more questions and then we'll go to Q&A. but question number 9 is the important and paramount diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation happening right now often does not include members of the international community living in Cleveland. Would you support policies in the private and public sectors that take into consideration the voices of this diverse and important constituency? Would you vote for and promote policies in government to achieve these goals?
Richard Starr, as councilman, supports a community for all. We cannot keep leaving out parts of our ward and leaving them to fend for themselves. We cannot keep leaving residents to themselves to do things on their own. We have to work together. We have to make sure everyone is supported and wholeheartedly, and that's the only way our community is going to thrive. It's so much division going on in Cleveland that it calls for us to just feel that people are now wanting to live in survival mode because the support is no longer there. So yes, I would wholeheartedly support and promote policies and governments to achieve support in every community, all residents.
All right, we have some questions in Q&A. Let me see what I can, well, I guess maybe they aren't. We still have a few more predetermined questions. So the next question is, Midwest cities leading the way in citywide growth and development through the inclusion of immigrant communities, such as Detroit and Pittsburgh, have created a task force and commissions to analyze the effects of immigration on their city, examine the challenges facing immigrants and immigrant communities, and promote immigrant success and build strong relationships between the native-born and immigrant communities. Would you support the creation of such a task force or commission in Cleveland made up of city representatives, immigrant community leaders, business leaders, and members of the Cleveland's nonprofit community?
Yes, I will support it. I definitely will support it. And I definitely think it was something that we should champion and lead to make sure that, you know, we're serving the immigrants and the immigrant communities. It can't be, you know, one thing that I always learned from my mom is if you haven't walked in the shoes of someone else, you can't just know it all about that person. No matter how much studying you do, you need those individuals to be involved for us to get the best results and to be able to build on anything that we're doing and strengthen our relationships.
All right. I think I'm getting a message that we should wrap up this session. So we very much appreciate your time. I know you were the one candidate that ventured and was willing to face these challenging questions. So we thank you for taking part in this. We would like to thank the candidates for coming here in good faith to speak to the international community today. As a reminder, we invited every candidate running for elections in this ward, and everyone was given an equal opportunity to reply. You can find the answers to these questions from every candidate who completed the questionnaire on our website. We would especially like to thank you, the audience, for coming. It is your vote that determines the next generation of Cleveland City leadership. Thank you, the interpreters as well, for providing language access. We would like to thank our incredible sponsors and partners who made these forums possible. And let me identify the list. Asia Inc., Asian Town Cleveland, Wadando Community of Greater Cleveland, British American Chamber of Commerce of Ohio, Building Hope in the City, City Club of Cleveland, Cleveland Council on World Affairs, Council on International Programs, USA, Cleveland Cultural Gardens, Collaborative Chambers Alliance, Connecting Cleveland, Downtown Cleveland Alliance, Global Shapers Cleveland, NAACP of Cleveland, Ohio Progressive Asian Women's Leadership, Refugee Response, Smart Development Inc., US Together, USCRI Cleveland, and Young Latino Network. Have a good evening, and remember, the strength of our community will come in the world.